Underdog Daily with Badge Rose, John, and Nez, aka Papa Nez, aka Michael Nelson, Trout's best friend. Can't wait to hear about it yesterday there, my guy. What is good? You good? You look lost.
Let's go.
Okay,
I'm
good.
here. No,
Okay.
sorry, I was messing with some settings. Hey guys, excited to once again be back. This is definitely like the last abbreviated week for your boy. We're going back. I got my folks in town, so yeah, a couple days off. But yes, went to the game yesterday. Went to the Rangers game. Took my dad there. He loves Globe Life. I like Globe Life too. He loves it. He thinks it's the greatest. So we
State of
went
the art.
there.
State of the art stadium.
Oh yeah. He loves the roof, but they had the roof open. That place is awesome with the roof open though. And yes, if you saw on Twitter, got to go on the field for BP. That was sick, man. Seeing those guys take hacks IRL and do their drills, like hitting fly balls away because they want to, is just like crazy.
Yeah, like picking and choosing their spots, and then some guys will run the bases like behind the screens and stuff. And the guy will be like, "Yo, move him over, boom, boom," like just like without even thinking, they can inside out like 3-line drives to the right hand side when they're getting jammed on their hands and stuff. It's so sick.
It's insane how good these guys are.
Yeah, dude, that picture you took of Trout though, he looks like a fridge.
He's insanely big. Like obviously he's a big guy. He's a house, dude. He's so fucking big. It's crazy.
Dude, honest to God, like I keep coming back to this in my mind because there was a question on, I guess it must have been on Swolecast, and Pete asked Kitchens, what body type could you pick in this world? If
Yeah.
you asked me that, I think I'd pick Mike Trout for
I think I would too.
Dude, he's a unit. He looks like a linebacker, man.
Yes. Yeah, even in person. He's a linebacker too. Speaking of like body types, so they had a lefty on the mound, Kikuchi, and so it was Jock's day off. Literally, Jock's day off. The Rangers are done hitting and fielding. It's all Angels on the field, and then here comes Jock in his like basketball shorts and a t-shirt, looking like a slob, and it's just out, just like hanging out with the Angels, like during their BP, and not in uniform. He just like, I'm not even pinch hitting today. It's my day off. That was really funny. I don't even know if people thought that he was like a player. He was just like, they were just like, oh, he's just a guy that works for the Rangers. I think half the people probably thought that.
He's gotten a little thicker over the years here. He's gotten a little thicker. He's got a little bit of a boiler on him, but he could still kill righties.
Hopefully.
Sometimes. He's always been that dude though. He's always been like just like hella like laid back and chill swag. Like both him and Cody Bellinger, they just seemed like the Dodgers stoners back in the day. They were just like in the corner of the dugout by themselves, like, yo, bro.
Yeah, you can't have them both on the same team. That's a problem. You got to keep those guys separated for the health of your clubhouse. But yeah, that was that was a lot of fun getting to do that yesterday with
dude. It's pretty epic to just see the bat speed and like see how hard the ball comes off the bat. Like even when guys are hitting fungos like on the side, like in between drills and stuff, you really see like how hard guys hit ground balls and stuff. And it's like, yeah, man, I used to be able to pick it. Like I used to be decent. And then you see like them and it's like, oh my God, that's like the hardest ground ball I've ever faced in my entire life. Yeah. And it's just like, they're just like, yeah, that's routine. That's routine.
Yeah. It really puts a different respect on these guys for sure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Nez, we got a couple things to talk about off the hop before we get into the play-in tournament slate today, the Hump Day Hoops, and then to the Walk-Off Wednesday. That's a 10-gamer there. Love what Underdog did, both hopefully today and tomorrow, to keep those early, like the 6:30 games on the slate. I know it's nice to have the drafting window, but the ability to have a 10-game slate instead of like a 4 or a 5, or the ability tomorrow, for instance, instead of having a 2 or a 3 gamer, you can have a 5 or a 6 based on like that. So I think that was just really, really sharp. So hat tip to them right there. But yeah, man, some fun stuff. We had the playing stuff last night. Not gonna lie, Nez, I nailed that slate. Slate behind the paywall for the people there. But I think the first thing we should talk about, and I know you definitely have some thoughts on it, is this extender that's going to be taking place through the postseason here where you're basically leveling up your boosts, but you have to start with game one. There's no jumping in here at game two and then accumulating the boosts. So yeah, just kind of macro thoughts on the new format of pick'em boosts.
Yeah, I think this is really cool and obvious. Like, game theory here. You're probably not going to want to choose, the Thunder against whoever wins between, Grizz and this playing game today. That's probably not going to be a long series. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious as far as like the game theory goes. But yeah, I just think it's a really cool idea. And it's a great way to get people like engaged from an underdog standpoint. Like, you got to come back and continue to play. So I just think it's a good idea. And I mean, there's a few different series that I'd be eyeing up to try to take advantage of for this. And I think my 101 target would probably be Nuggets and Clippers to go the distance for round one, and for some easy hires too. I think that series should be pretty fun.
Yeah, that series, it'll be interesting just to see. We'll do some kind of like macro series breakdowns and talk about this a little bit more, probably on Friday's show, because we'll have the full-fledged brackets for we won't fully have the NBA one yet, but because it's Friday night that they'll be playing the last of those playing games, but at least we'll have a more concrete idea after tonight what those series will actually look like, and then we can start making some intelligent decisions. This would probably be a pretty fun one to run as a community too. So we could start with like the one series we pick, utilize that boost, and then just keep running with that same series every single show.
Yeah, exactly. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Lane, I was the Cole Anthony guy. Bro. Let's start with that from last night here. Some big shouts to the community. Just in general, but like, man, those leaderboards were peppered last night, particularly in the baseball. I got 68 entries in the main there. Thought we might have had a micro sweat at it, but I did not get to the 4 warrior super stack build there, or four warrior to Memphis ones, and then Cole Anthony late here. I guess that boy Izzy something like that? IOZ?
I think
Something like
Ozzy.
that. Oh,
That
like,
Ozzy.
boy with 2 eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, got you. I'm not woke like that, dude. I'm not woke like that. I spell boy with a Y, so I don't know that it's boy with 2 eyes. I don't fuck around with boy with 2 eyes.
That's Ozzy. That's my boy Ozzy.
There you go. Actually, I have a buddy who just named their first kid Ozzy. Pretty sick.
Oh, that's sick.
That's a good name. First boy, second kid. The boy Ozzy, though. There you go. So you needed to slam that second game, and then the one-off from the other game environment that was getting disrespected all morning and then got disrespected even harder by the projections was Cole Anthony coming back and playing full and playing like the Cole Anthony that we know can ball out when Suggs isn't there. And it was actually funny to just watch the between the two basketball games. The second one was way more enjoyable to watch, I thought, based on like the ball movement and the runs that were taking place there. But in the first game there, Nez, I thought it was really cool to see Orlando play well again. Like, this is Orlando even missing some of their best pieces, or not best pieces, but missing definitely their best guard and some of their good pieces there, that even on an off night for Paulo and Franz, that they can still find auxiliary scoring and decent defense. Nice to see Cole Anthony, Anthony Black, and Jonathan Isaac all factoring in.
Yeah, I thought Cole Anthony was such a smash, and on this slate, I didn't play a ton because I was like very much uncertain with like the new Grizzlies rotations, since I've been on dad duty. I was not really up to speed with how like I found out like the day before that Scottie Pippen Jr. has been starting. I didn't know that. Like, so I was like, oh wow, this is not a slate for me to like get a ton of volume in. So like Jonathan Kuminga, I didn't realize he was DNP CD the day before the last game. I was like, what the fuck? This guy not even. So I knew this. I knew I was out of my depth, except I knew Cole Anthony. I knew he was a great play. So shout out Ozzy here.
Hey,
To
the point there of the Kuminga one, our guy T-Box didn't realize it either, and he still managed to have a lineup in second place there. He was way over on Cole Anthony and Anthony Black, but he played 60% Kuminga there. So yeah, you can still get home. It just takes one. You can still get home here. Shout out to Book, T-Box, Summertime, all up here. I'll jump over to the MLB stuff. Some of the MLB stuff didn't age as well. I played a lot of Angels. Definitely had my fair share of Soderstrom there, and definitely the Boston stack was something we talked about as well. But yeah, I played a lot of Angels alongside it, and that did not age well. But shout out to the Wood, man. Scott, maker of the tools, OG friend of the show, been on the show before, but this was a who's who of the Discord here. The Wood taking both first two there. Then our guy, JT McKenzie, Brad, Shilly, who's been winning everything to start the year. Easy's up here with two in a row here. Then the Wood, then JT McKenzie, then Vogie Berra. Like, it was all just through and through the Baseball Deposit Kingdom channel. Awesome. Awesome.
Look at your distribution though, man. I mean, you were on it. You were peppering the look at that clump there for you in your distribution there. That's pretty solid.
Not bad for just the 34 entries there, Nez. Directionally accurate, day we say.
I broke even too. I had too many twins. They all basically got hurt, but I had a ton of Soderstrom. Some of it won off just based on the way my auto ranks were set up. So that everything I see toward the front end of my leaderboard was all Soderstrom, the guy you needed, and maybe the guy you need in best ball too. The Athletics are just it sucks because this was like, I think definitively the last time the Athletics are gonna be under the radar for dailies. I don't know how much longer they can go under the radar in dailies. I mean,
it was also interesting too because they moved to colder temperatures. Granted, wind was slightly blowing out. Sean Burke, who we don't have a big sample size on, but at least we know he throws hard and might have some okay stuff, and they still just got to him in a big way.
So, yeah, they're just that good, you know. I mean, like it wasn't a good pitcher, you know. It's just not a good matchup, and this team is just legit good. They're not, you know, they're not park merchants. They fucking bang, man. And I just don't know how much longer they're going to go under the radar. Maybe they go on a little cold streak, and then we can go back to them. But I mean, baseball is just so awesome.
Yeah, this is a fun one too, that like Kurtz could come up here too. They put Rooker in the outfield for the first time in like 2 years on Sunday of last week. So if they get him some reps in the outfield there, and then you can find DH at bats for Soder or Kurtz, whoever's the worst of the two at first base. Look out.
They're talking about Soderstrom getting third base reps now.
Ooh, okay, interesting.
I don't know if that's to jam in as many good bats as possible, or they just need Max Muncy out of there, like by any means necessary, because he's not been it.
Max Muncy, tough start to the year there. Ben, my guy, you need a badge, bro. You need a badge because the paywall show was all about 0% Kuminga, 0% Kuminga. You needed a badge yesterday, my friend. Easy. I dare you to try and bait me. I'm unbaitable, my friend.
Can't be baited.
Can't be baited. I'm a master defender of the baiting. Eggers, man, he's got a new puppy in the house. Shout out to our guy Eggers telling us putting the dog in the dog app here with a new puppy arriving last night. Congratulations, my friend, a Mr. Good Boy with 2 eyes of his own.
That's awesome. Congrats on the puppy. That's definitely not a lot of sleep. If you're doing it right, you got to be getting up with those puppies like every 3 hours, like a baby.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I was lucky that Tucker was a sleeper. He was a Mr. Good Boy. He lived up to his name there. Nez,
Go figure.
Any RBC Heritage content coming? Probably no PGA stuff this week, though. Tomorrow, I will say, is a very light day. There's no hoops, and there's only a 5-game MLB main. So we might be able to sneak in a couple drafts for Friday's slate, but nothing today for tomorrow because we're just going to do basketball and baseball today. I fancy myself a little bit more of an albatross expert there, Nez.
You are an albatross expert. You are a master of the masters of the majors, I should say.
Yeah.
Masters was electric, by the way. That was just so awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, we talked about it. I talked about it a little bit on Monday there, but yeah, just a absolute spectacle from a roller coaster of emotions and viewing experience there. It was truly great. Yeah, but shout out to everybody in the community for the big wins last night. Love to see the leaderboard littered with red badges who hang out both here and hang out in the Discord every single day. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Des, let's start with basketball. Let's start with basketball today.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. We got some big basketball games on today, and I like this slate more than yesterday, I think.
Ooh, very interesting. I was more definitive in my leans yesterday than I am today. I'm a little more shook little boy on this slate today than pound the table John was yesterday.
Well, let me put some hair on your chest here, John.
Okay.
Let's reach out and see what we got today. What do you think?
Okay, sounds good to me. I think the first place we should start is on the beautiful Unabated interface here. Obviously not a ton of news rolling in, but there definitely are some impactful Q tags in the Miami situation that, at the best of times, Spoelstra with his rotation is borderline trustworthy. And today is going to be no different. We kept clamoring for get Jaime Jaquez in there and that sort of thing. And then what does Jaime Jaquez does when he finally gets an opportunity? He goes nuke the other day, but now I imagine he's back out of the rotation. There's going to be some Q tags that we'll talk through in that game by game there. But I was a little surprised how low just in general the totals for these two games were. We're dealing with a 219.5 and a 213.5. The Bulls are 1 point favorites at home, and the Kings are 4.5 point favorites at home there. I don't know, man. On the surface, I thought these would both be like a little more. I know it's playoff basketball now, or postseason basketball, not technically playoff basketball yet. I don't know, man. I thought we'd have a little more pace and a little higher totals than these for this.
Yeah, so did I, especially in that Kings Mavericks game. I was definitely expecting a higher total than Heat Bulls, but this is what we're left with. So maybe it's something about the brand of basketball both these teams are playing right now. I mean, the Kings, no Monk, not that he was playing that much. And it's just, it's the wings and Sabonis in there against AD ball on the other side. So maybe slower pace than really what we're accustomed to, obviously. But playoff basketball is going to obviously bring some of these lower totals.
Yeah, well said. Nez, I'm going to ask you the pressing ADP question before we go game by game, because I think there's, probably some clear and definable tiers in these two gamers. But I gotta ask you, man, are you team Sabonis or team AD at the 101 seed?
I mean, it kind of doesn't it have to be Anthony Davis? I think it has to be Anthony Davis.
That's where I'm at, man. I've done 60 drafts and I've never taken Sabonis at 1. I've taken AD at 1 every single time. And it's kind of crazy because in certain rooms, AD will fall to 3 as well. So I'm creating a pretty exploitative stance this evening on Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I plan on doing the same. I haven't been in my lobbies. I've done a few auto drafts at a time, but I've got AD ranked 1, so it sounds like I'm getting a shit ton.
Yeah. Nick chiming in and saying I have 55% 80 as well through 110. I mean, yeah, that was my number one thing when I looked at this slate and I looked at the matchups and stuff. I was like, do I want Sabonis going against lively AD Gafford, whose coach and GM are preaching nothing? All they're preaching right now is defense wins championships, defense. This is our whole mantra with the Mavs. Do I want Sabonis going up against that? Or do I want AD going against Sabonis, who I know we can get light work on even in playoff scenarios? He's a guy that you target. And then, he's getting cooked. Well, now you got to deal with Trey Lyles, undersized Keegan Murray, and or Joe Val, who's a guy we targeted for years at the 5. AD just looks like smash 101 to me today.
I mean, yeah, it really doesn't need to be sold that hard, in my opinion. I mean, he's got the PRA advantage plus the stock advantage. I mean, it's just, to me, a no-brainer. I think it's more of a conversation of AD, I would have Sabonis 3, and I would have to talk myself out of putting him 4. You know?
Wow. Okay. Interesting. So you're really down on Boner today. So you like Giddy more than Sabonis?
Oh yeah, I do.
Okay. Interesting. Because I've been taking Sabonis at 2. I'm just kind of I'm gonna be a little underweight Giddy right now. I think
Hmm.
if I'm the Heat and I'm setting up this matchup and I'm looking at this thing on paper, I'm going, I want to make Giddy beat me by shooting.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I just think Giddy's just such a monster right now for Chicago that even though they do game plan, against him, like I just think the way he just goes about these games, he's just so good for our game, for fantasy
yeah,
right now. And yeah, I mean, I know Sabonis is going to be involved and play every minute of that game, but I mean, we could see. I think we're going to see big time Giddy minutes here. I mean, he played 40 minutes against Miami last time. I don't expect 74 fantasy points for fuck's sake, but I think we're going to see every minute of Giddy, and he's just so efficient right now. I don't know, man. I think the ceiling case is very easy to make Giddy over Boner, but median output Boner over Giddy.
yo, that's perfectly articulated. I respect that in a big way there. Yeah, he's just a guy who can fill it up across all 5 cats basically, and that plays
Yeah.
so much better on our site when you're dealing with the 3-point stock. 3 fantasy points per stock one there. Stunner, I don't factor in injuries into anything that I do on a night to night basis. So yeah, I mean, AD potentially getting hurt, like, and the probable tag on him, just it's not even in my mind. Sawdog jumping in here to say that last time AD played Sabonis, 36 and 15. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good on paper there. Yeah, I think that's a good like macro conversation there, Nez. I think some of the other macro conversations to have before we get into like game by game and the plays that we like is this little clump of like Bam, Hero, and Vooch is going to be paired together over and over and over again. So from like a game theory standpoint, is there merit in pulling up some of the Sacramento guys to the 104 there to get some different combinations? Because if you're in there with auto drafters or guys just putting in ranks, the 2 Heat players are going to be paired together every damn time.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It almost, I guess you could maybe think about putting Vooch over one of those two. Like obviously, maybe it's not obvious. Yeah, I would definitely be considering mixing that up for sure if you're drafting at the 1-2 turn.
Yeah.
It's like the probabilities there, I think, make a lot of sense that if it's like being paired so often, then yeah, you should probably mix that up and and you are probably going to sacrifice a little EV, but I mean, you're giving yourself a unique pairing for sure. And in reality, it's really not as bad as it feels. So that's a really good point. That's a really good point.
My favorite iteration of doing this thus far has been Bam plus DeRozan or Hero plus DeRozan.
Yeah, I like DeRozan more than Levine as well.
Likewise. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm good. Um Oh, shout out to Ghost AF. I didn't shout out Ghost AF because I was not in that contest, but took down the buzzer beater last night for
Oh, let's
1K.
go.
Yeah, shout out to
Hardest
Ghost AF.
contest on the site, by the way.
My bad. Normally I pin those in the Discord and I fell asleep at the wheel on that one. Ghost AF, shout out for the win last night as well. My apologies for missing that one. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, Nez. I think we can kind of go a little game by game now, and we'll get an inclination on some of the pieces that you like and or don't like, and or some of the micro edges that we can talk through here. So I'm gonna do 2 things today.
Mhm.
Well, I'll start with the injury report stuff, and then I'll share what we think maybe starting lineups should be, because there's only 4 of them, kind of deal.
Okay.
So the Heat are the most interesting in both of those regards, because the Heat have legitimate questionable tags today. We have Alec Burks is listed as available. Haywood Highsmith is listed available. I've seen neither get drafted yet. Duncan Robinson's available. I've seen him go once or twice. And then the Q tags. Nikola Jovic, Pell Larson, and Kevin Love are the Q tags there. So that could really impact rotations and starting units, because what we've grown accustomed to with Miami in recent memory is Hero, Burks, Wiggins, Bam, Ware. Now, do you need to play two bigs against a lineup that is running out Vooch and Buzelis and going to play, fast here? So could we potentially be dealing with, they've been saving playoff Kevin Love to play the 4 tonight and Bam goes back to the 5? Or can they run a second unit like that? Or is Jovic going to come back tonight after the broken hand and be fully ready, fully up to conditioning? By the way, he had an out tag on the site for the first, 8 hours of drafting. So I'm the only person on the site who's been drafting him now that he has the Q tag in the 6th round there. So I don't know. I just want to pick your brain here, because this will really impact, slow-mo too, where people are looking at box scores and they're going, hey, slow-mo looks pretty good. And he's going in the 6th round all the time. And we've seen slow-mo over the course of the year just be complete and utterly cut out of the rotation at times. So I don't know, man. How you treating this one? How you feeling macro on the Heat? I can jump back and look at ADPs for you as well.
Yeah, I think slow-mo is definitely one that I'm not thinking about today at all. He's just like not in my top 24, 26 today. So I'm not doing that. The next one down, I guess, would be like Haywood Highsmith. Even him, I don't know. I'll have to like get him mixed in every now and then, but I don't feel making my last or mostly Jovic with the Q tag, and then take a swap if he doesn't play. I'm not doing any Kevin Love. I think he's strictly just a player coach. In my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm of the mindset that if Jovic plays, and because it was a hand and because he's like most likely going to be in decent shape, I'm not sure that he starts, but I do think there's a chance that if they need, second unit to use him over Highsmith, that he could find his way to like 22 minutes tonight. And that's like not nothing. So if he doesn't play, you get a swap and more information. If he does play, I think he's probably not safe, because I don't think anyone on Miami's safe, but I do think he's like a little safer than even slow-mo is.
I think so. I mean, they used him quite a bit this year. And I think he kind of fits this matchup pretty nicely. Like you were kind of laying out here, like over Highsmith, I would think.
Highsmith is interesting from a fantasy perspective too, that even if Highsmith plays like 28 or 30 minutes, it's very similar to what we saw from Mo Gay last night, where he gets the tough, long wing defensive assignment, and he probably doesn't matter from a fantasy standpoint, even if he gets like a couple putbacks and whatever. He's just going to get like a tough matchup is what he's going to deal with.
Yeah. I don't feel good about him at all.
Yeah. Okay, so now here comes the big push-pull one that I want to talk about is Davion.
Yeah.
So what are we doing with Davion Mitchell here, who, they acquired in the middle of the season there? Slow-mo is Kyle Anderson. Thank you. Sorry if I grow accustomed to speaking in Johnisms. I
please don't be embarrassed to ask if we say somebody you don't know. We're just firing off the hip.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Davion Mitchell one is very interesting to me, right? Because he did end up playing, a decent amount in that wave the white flag game, which is I used as a little bit of an indicator on last night's slate of guys that couldn't be trusted for that night's slate. Does that make sense? So like they played when everybody else sat. Okay, what are we doing here with them? So on the night in which, Hero sits, Bam sits, so, they're sitting, and Wiggins sits, they're sitting all their stars, Davion still plays 19 minutes. Kyle Anderson plays 28 minutes in that game. I realized that you need bodies and you need to play bodies. And we were dealing with a game that Larson, Love, and Jovic were out of, and Highsmith was out of that game. So maybe it's not a 1-for-1 here. But the fact that Davion played in that game and we're going to have increased handling in theory back tonight, especially by way of playoff Wiggins. We all know what he did with the Warriors 2 seasons ago. There, I'm a little more skittish on Davion than most guys are right now. Him and Keon
Yeah.
Ellis are the two most interesting like 4th rounders where they could have lead handling and be big stock guys, but I have no idea what to expect on the offensive end.
I mean, you think Wiggins would play the 1 and knock him out?
No, not play the 1, but just have more touch time between like him and Hero.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily playing. I guess I would say I'm not really playing Mitchell for like touch time and efficient scoring. It's just like 2-game slate. Mitchell, I think is going to see the court a ton. So that's why I would like him today. I mean, there's not too many guys I would take over Davion Mitchell today. I mean,
okay. Yeah, I think the bear
where
case
he's at, obviously,
Yeah, I think the bull case is like 6th man, 28 to 33 minutes are range of outcomes there. I do think the bear case is like Alec Burks goes back to the bench. They bring in Duncan Robinson into the starting lineup, and you start Hero, Robinson, Wiggins, Bam, Ware, and then they need more size on the floor with the second unit, and they turn to Highsmith, Jovic, like these kind of guys as like 6th and 7th man up kind of situations, and then Davion's just like a pure backup 1.
And they'd run point Hero.
Yeah.
Well, that would make Hero pretty appealing. I mean, he already is, but
yeah, and you run Hero alongside Duncan Robinson and makes Duncan Robinson look more appealing, and then makes Alec Burks, who just doesn't even get drafted, which is kind of the same thesis as Corey Joseph from yesterday, that it's like you just don't need him from a fantasy standpoint, but he's cutting somebody's minutes.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess the starting lineup is not quite fixed by the sounds of it, because I had Davion Mitchell penciled in as starting, like, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not as confident in that one. I think this Heat starting lineup can go like 5 different ways tonight. I'm very skittish on where Heat auxiliary pieces can go, and a lot of it will be hinging upon the Love, Jovic, and Larson availability.
Well, I'm woke now. All right. On my toes. See how much Davion Mitchell I have right now.
Okay.
While you continue.
Yeah. Here's a good one from Clipper Nation. If they match Davion Mitchell's minutes with Kobe White just to pester him, he'll pay off at that price for sure. I think that's a really sharp take. I think that's a really good take. I think if you think they start him alongside Hero, and then they use him as the Kobe on ball stopper, I like that. That's the bull case for Davion.
I don't have too much of him. Because just based on I forget how these no ADP slates go. I have Dinwiddie and Najee Marshall over Davion, so I don't have a lot of Davion.
Yeah. If you have those two over and you have Keon Ellis over, you're not going to end up with basically any. I have a couple 6th round shared Davions where guys just don't want them.
Okay.
So it's very room dependent. Like sometimes he goes in the 4th, sometimes he goes in the latter part, right?
Yeah. I mean, him or Klay Thompson, I guess, would be a bit of a toss up, but I would take Davion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to look up one thing for a half second here, because I was looking at this earlier. April 9th, Miami played Chicago. We talked about it on the show, and it was a pseudo dress rehearsal for what we thought would be, because it was kind of like a playoff game where they were both trying to play out of that 9-10 spot to get into the 8 spot here. So they did do we can look back and we can go where Wiggins, Hero, Bam, and Burks started, but Burks did not close. He started the second half, and then they went with Davion Mitchell for the entirety of the second half. 36 minutes, third on the team in terms of minutes played, and he closed the entirety of that game.
Yeah, that's interesting. That makes me, I mean, makes me pretty interested in Davion. But like we said, we need that availability of these other Heat players because Jovic. I mean, they don't overlap at all, obviously, right? They play two completely different positions, but I think Jovic would probably affect those minutes somehow, some way. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Jovic most likely taking Kyle Anderson's minutes would make the most sense to me, like playing
Yeah,
at 21.
that's true. I mean, those are a lot of minutes. So
Mhm.
yeah, no, that's true. Davion. I think the at the end of the day, Davion Mitchell, just obviously not an efficient player, but we really care about minutes at the back end of these drafts. But if he's going over Dinwiddie and Najee Marshall more often than not, then I don't really have to sweat this too much.
Yeah, I respect that. Alan's saying that in the PRA, in the Pick'em lobbies, that Dinwiddie and Davion are the same. So that's not helping us in either direction there, but just, warranting the fact that they're in the same tier right now. Yeah, fake Jokic night. Yeah, classic. Jay Gill, 6 months. 6 months flew by. Yeah, that's what happens when you're having fun. When you are hanging out and having fun with the Badge Bros and winning on the platform of the people, that's what happens. Appreciate you being a member for 6 months, my friend. All right, Nez. I think the Heat will be like the longest breakdown because they were,
Yeah.
you can't trust Spoelstra. They're the ones with the most Q tags, that sort of thing. Okay, I'm gonna leave this up on the screen for a second as we talk about, or let me jump back to the totals and stuff. Bulls are at home. This is a 219.5 to remind everybody. Bulls are 1 point favorites here. The Bulls are dealing with Lonzo Ball, doubtful tag. Io DeSumo out tag, probable tag on Josh Giddey, who's dealing with that forearm, right forearm one. I brought up the unabated stuff yesterday that they were talking about it. They're still missing Trey Jones. So they're missing, second unit handling in Lonzo and Trey Jones, which is bullish for both Giddey and Kobe White there. And then Dalen Terry has been listed as probable there. If we go back to this kind of, we can call it a pseudo dress rehearsal here on the popcorn machine, you could see that, all the starters played north of 33. So they
Yep.
were really condensed and it was all around, Vooch, Bucelis, Giddey, White, and Herter. And we can anticipate, I assume we can anticipate something very similar based on the available bodies tonight, unless they have to switch things up to match size with, Highsmith or with Nikola Jovic being on the floor more.
Yeah, no, I think this is like, it's not quite Midwest Knicks, but it's kind of how I look at it, man. I like it. Like when I'm building ranks, I like everybody. Here. Man, I think Herter. No, maybe not. I was gonna say Herter was a little undervalued, but he goes right around Keon Ellis and Ware. But yeah, I like all the Bulls tonight, man. I like everybody on the Bulls, just given what we just saw right there. And they're kind of like playing well the last, I mean, the last month or so.
Yeah,
The
that road
Bulls are
trip.
not playing bad.
Yeah, that West Coast road trip where they took the Lakers to overtime, they beat Denver or vice versa, some combination of that. Like that West Coast swing where they went like 8-2 in their last 10 or whatever. They looked like a complete like revamped basketball team.
Really, they really do. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool to see them play better like this. Yeah, I mentioned Herter because he's the last one in, the last starter listed for the Bulls,
Yep.
with the 27-9 projection, but he's not like super far down the player pool when you're actually in drafts, and a lot of people are using projection as their ranking set. Yeah, what do you think here? I guess this 1v1 that you've got in the queue here, Herter versus Matas. because Matas has some efficient ceilings, but
yeah, I think this is probably the toughest decision on the slate right now. And you basically always have this decision on the right hand side of the board at the 3-4. And you have to choose between Khalil Ware, Buzelis, Herter, or pulling up, Davion Mitchell or Keon Ellis or Keegan Murray. That's the by far the toughest decision on the board right now. And I've been gravitating to Kevin Herter. This is some of it's anecdotal, and the fact that he's like more of a veteran guy who's been in playoff games before than Buzelis in his first ever postseason appearance here. Buzelis has been playing really well, but if you look at a lot of those box scores, they came at the expense of games where other guys were missing. That sort of deal, right? Yeah. So the big time scoring outputs from him come when Giddey was missing time with the forearm and that sort of deal. Kevin Herter, for me, against a team that is primarily zone defense, as a catch and shoot 3 guy, I mean, he could get hot in the blink of an eye and have 12 points in 5 possessions. And like Herter to me was the guy that I moved ahead in this grouping. It was Ware and then Herter for me at like pick 13. So I haven't checked my exposures yet by design here, Nez, but through 60 drafts, I venture to guess that I probably have 35% Kevin Herter, and I probably have 8% Buzelis right now.
I like the hand on the court take there, man. I like thinking about rookies in their first playoff game, big game. Minutes could be fragile, performance could be fragile. I don't know what this kid's gonna do in his first game. In the United Center, play-in game, basically the biggest game of his life so far. But you've got, ice cold Herter here, man. I mean, I kind of like where your head's at here, especially given that zone defense alpha. If you can knock down threes, you're going to pull a team out of a zone very quickly, or just put them in panic mode. So, yeah, I think Herter here makes a lot of sense. Give me 35 minutes of Herter any day.
I think if you're going to. This feels a little similar to the Atlanta versus Magic matchup yesterday, where Atlanta had an awful time getting into the paint and getting to the rim. And then they were trying to settle for outside shots, but Trey wasn't getting them up, and nobody else could knock down a 3 when he found them, wide open in this one. I trust Giddey's ability as a ball handler and as a creator, and Kobe White to some extent as well, to find some open threes here. And I think those open threes are best served by Kevin Herter and Kobe White here.
Yeah. Exactly. I think the way this goes wrong is if Buzelis find his way to 6 stocks.
Yeah.
Then fuck.
Yeah.
And we should have been taking him in the 3rd round.
Some interesting rotation questions here. Can you play Zach Collins alongside Vooch to match size of Ware plus Bam? Is that even possible range of outcome this evening, because Zach Collins goes undrafted the vast majority of times? I think there's some interesting questions about does Julian Phillips find the floor? He only found the floor for 6 or 7 minutes the last time these guys played. I think Patrick Williams would be the safest. Him and Terry would be the safest of the next up to play 15 minutes. But if I'm playing Chicago, auxiliary pieces are not as enticing as just playing the starters here. I can tell myself a story on some of the Mavs auxiliary guys will get there. Some of the Heat auxiliary guys falling into minutes, I can get there. For me, this looks pretty condensed, and this is how they've been playing for a while they've been winning. So auxiliary pieces for them is a little gal brain, but I think Collins would have the highest ceiling of the bunch.
Yeah. I don't hate that take. We see this all the time. Yesterday, I would have been nowhere near Anthony Black. I was nowhere near Anthony Black yesterday. I mean, there's just sometimes where these coaches ride with hot hands, or some coach, zigs while the other one needs to zag, then to match. There's definitely a chance that Zach Collins plays more than anybody expects, and we know that he can be efficient when he does get minutes. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to think outside the box here and trying to differentiate and take an extremely low-owned player that, just maybe, he, for whatever reason, is playing 20 minutes tonight and he's putting up an efficient score in those 20 minutes. No one else has him. I don't think that's a bad take.
Yeah, look no further than Jonathan Isaac last night, who ends up playing, he ends up putting up 26 or 27 fantasy points. It didn't matter because other auxiliary Magic players got there instead. But like
It
as
should have
soon
mattered.
as yeah, it should have mattered. It definitely should have mattered as a 6th-round pick. You're right. But yeah, that like in that game, Wendell Carter Jr. gets a little bit of foul trouble early, and then he rolls his ankle, and then they turn to the Goga's nowhere in sight, and they go, "We've been saving Jonathan Isaac for backup 5 run in the postseason. Like now we can unleash the weapon that is John Isaac." And he ended up playing like 18 or 20 minutes, nothing crazy. But if you give 18 or 20 minutes to Joe Val or Zach Collins, like what those kind of guys in the 6th round can do from a rates perspective is going to break a slate wide open.
Yep. Yeah. Well said.
The other side of the coin, though, is they're just as liable to play 6 minutes or 0 minutes. Like, you know what I mean? Because we're dealing with 2 teams, just to talk about the Kings and talk about the Bulls, that are extremely condensed, right? We're dealing with West Coast Tibbs and maybe Midwest Tibbs as well.
Exactly.
All right, Nez, let's move on to the last game on the slate here. This is at 213.5, 4.5 by way of the Kings with the home court in this one. Winner of this game will then receive the Memphis Grizzlies on Friday. Yeah, so we got a probable tag on Anthony Davis. We obviously have Kyrie and OMP listed as out here. Brandon Williams, who was previously on the 2-way contract, has been signed to a real contract with the team and is listed as questionable with a left oblique sprain here. As you guys can see on the right-hand side of the screen, Derek Lively was made available last night. Yeah, and then on the Kings side, Jake LaRavia and Malik Monk are both listed as out. So second unit handling down in a big way. And what we have seen in recent memory with both those two out is really condensing of minutes around Keon Ellis and Trey Lyles. And, Keegan Murray missed a couple of those games. I think he missed 2 of them, but once he's been back, playing north of 28 kind of deal as well. So expecting one side to be very concentrated. And then on the Dallas side, I don't know, man. I really don't know what to expect here outside of Anthony Davis being extremely dominant on both sides of the floor here. So currently have it as Dinwiddie, Clay, PJ, AD, and Lively. But that Lively and Gafford could flip-flop. It's been Lively in recent memory. So the 5 could flip-flop. So they're both getting drafted. And then I think there's a non-zero chance that the Dinwiddie one could flip around a little bit too. Yeah. And then where do the minutes come off the bench? I have no idea. Because, does Caleb Martin factor into this rotation? Does Brandon Williams factor into this rotation for second unit scoring if he's able to go? Does Najee Marshall, who's bad from a rates perspective, play north of 30 today? Does Max Christie factor in? I don't know, Nez. So let's start with the Mavs here. The team closest to you. What's your read on the situation? I'll bring up their ADPs.
Yeah. I do think that for me, like the biggest question is, the Gafford Lively stuff. Who's getting the minutes there? And I think it's going to matter getting this right. Unfortunately, I have no lean on who the minutes go to here. I would, lean Gafford, but getting Lively back, maybe you just never know what Jason Kidd is going to do. That's extremely derogatory. You just never know. But I think it's going to matter because, with as is, the case for every big on our site, these guys are efficient in their minutes for fantasy. Gafford probably more so, but they can matter if given the minutes. So this one I think is going to be kind of important to get right. But unfortunately, I have no lean on either of these guys. I'm just taking both. I think Dinwiddie Seems to be a pretty good play here. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, let's talk about the bigs a little bit more for 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, Nick kind of chiming in here. I think it's boring, but they'll play dead even down the middle. The one thing that's a little bit different with this situation than when we were talking about it, like 3 or 4 months ago. Obviously, the addition of AD, but like the fact that AD is playing the 4 is we could just see traditional 5 minutes split right down the middle for these two, which is not something we were really talking about in the past because they would overlap a little bit before AD, and you would want to be like, hey, which of these ones do we prefer here? Like there's a chance that we just get like 24-24, or that's high in my estimation, but there's some chance here that we get like 18-20, and then we get a little bit of run of AD at the 5 or something.
That's what I think. That's what I think. But if one of these guys gets hot, they'll leave them in, and then they'll break the slate. But if that doesn't happen, then you just get 24 points for like each guy in like 19 minutes each, and you were fine either way. Kind of hope that's what happens, but actually I'll have a lot of Gafford probably. So maybe if Gafford can go on a run, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely interesting.
You were about to start talking about Dinwiddie and Najee Marshall in that next tier. I just want to put it on everybody's radar that PJ Washington is not the PJ Washington that he was 3 months ago either. His rebounding rates since the addition of AD, and more notably since the addition of adding in Gafford and Lively back to that rotation, his rebounding rates have sunk in a big way, and we might just be getting PJ Washington jail side of the coin here, where he is just the defensive ball stopper on the one side, more so than being reliant for rebound or scoring on the other end at all.
So just to kind of bring it to the contest here.
Yeah.
PJ versus like Khalil Ware. Where are you at on that?
Flip a coin, man. I think I just take PJ because of the perceived ADP, and it looks like a tier break, and Ware sometimes falls to the 4th, whereas PJ basically never does. I know at least PJ can get to the rim and score a little bit here and there, whereas like Ware's probably going to be like 5th option or 4th option for them, especially if they're as reliant on the 3 ball as I anticipate them being today. So yeah, I think PJ ever so slightly, and he's just not a comfortable click right now. I think if you were going to tell me straight up fantasy points tonight, Keon Ellis or PJ Washington, I think I'd tell you Keon Ellis.
That's really interesting.
It's insane, but if you were like gun to my head,
I mean, I think Keon's gonna have a big game tonight. But I just like PJ, man. I totally hear what you're saying, and I think I'll temper the expectations a little bit, but I do think that PJ against the Kings, I still like him. I think he's still a pretty strong option offensively for the Mavs, and what he's giving up in rebound rate, maybe he's making up in stocks, perhaps, given the fact that he's so much more pushed up to the wings now, with how big they're playing. Maybe that allows him to be a little more active, in the passing lanes and whatnot. I mean, I'm going to have a lot of PJ, but I hear you. I hear you on the rebounding stuff for sure. I mean, the ceiling is clearly it's worth stating. It's pretty obvious. Yeah, the ceiling is lower with this new look Mavericks.
Yeah, well said. Tipsy, is that you?
Eric?
Is that? Wait a second. Tipsy, is that you? I once knew a guy. Just like this Eric guy. I once knew a guy. Nez, let's talk about auxiliary Dallas that is not of the big position. So let's talk about, we expect Clay to start, and we know he's a guy who can get hot from 3 and fill it up, but that's basically all that he does. Najee Marshall, we know as a bad rates guy, and he needs the minutes to kind of get home there, and some of that might come at the expense of PJ Washington and Spencer Dinwiddie. And then Dinwiddie, I don't know, do we anticipate lead handling role this evening? I do think it's important to note that Brandon Williams is participating in shoot around right now, courtesy of the people at Unabated there. So yeah, just macro thoughts on, the remaining. I guess we could throw Christie in there. They traded for Caleb Martin. We haven't seen him extended in a decent way. but at least he's a veteran guy that they could know and trust and get in there. I have no idea. The Heat rotation and the Mavs rotation tonight are very, very difficult for me.
Yeah, I was anticipating Dinwiddie starting and having the
Yep.
handling role.
Okay.
I don't know who would take that from him. Like, do you think? I don't think they would put Brandon Williams in over him.
I don't think so either, but
Yeah. So
I do. Yeah.
I mean, it's Dinwiddie. So I'm
Spencer
scared.
Din's shitty for a reason, man.
I'm fucking scared. But yeah, Caleb Martin is an interesting one that you highlighted. I think I was
Yeah.
not necessarily on him early on.
I haven't seen anyone take. Christie goes at a decent frequency, but I haven't seen anyone take Brandon Williams, Caleb Martin, or Dante Exum, and maybe rightfully so. But I don't know, man. This is a little different than last night. Sorry, a little different than last night, where we talked about, hey, if one team's losing by a large margin, they could wave the white flag at the end and nobody matters. And that's exactly what happened with Atlanta. They were down with like 4 or 5 minutes left. Trey gets kicked out, and then they wave the white flag because they have one more game. Whereas tonight is one and done for both of these teams. So I don't expect them to get super deep, even if they're, down 15 or something in the fourth, because it is a winner go home game. So some of these auxiliary pieces are a little less enticing than yesterday's slate.
Yeah, I think if I was to bro science this, Caleb Martin, part of that, the kind of swept under the rug of how bad that trade was because of the Anthony Davis trade. Are they going to use this trade acquisition in a do or die game in a bigger way than an 8-point projection would indicate? I think so.
Can you imagine? You know who the Mavs could really use tonight? They could really use Luka and Quentin Grimes tonight. That's who they could really use in this game tonight.
Yeah, but John, I mean, they didn't have much size. They didn't draft a 5 in the first round. 2 years ago. So a young budding 5 whose mom was a professional athlete. No, they didn't. They had to sell their soul and spit in the face of their franchise for more size.
Oh my god,
Luka to Grimes. Oh my god.
Have you considered, Nez, though, that defense wins championships?
Yeah, I once played high school basketball. Yeah.
Holy fuck, man. Oh god. Reespook dropping by to say he's calling it. Nez top 3 tonight. Couldn't be me.
Wow, that just gave me mojo that I didn't have.
Oh shit, yeah. Anything else to say on this? Like, do you want to click Christie? Do you want to click Caleb Martin? Do you want to click Dante Exum? Anything tonight?
No, I don't. I think Christie's fool's gold. Exum, once upon a time, was like a cool bench player for them. I don't really have any confidence in him right now. I think the skeleton key right now is 8.4 projection Caleb Martin.
Okay. I respect it, man. Yeah, he does seem like the one who could be like, yo, this is a guy who's got some playoff experience. This guy who's played some minutes in the past. This is a guy that nobody's drafting right now. What if they just trust him to play 25 minutes in the 6th round tonight?
Yeah. What if?
Yeah, what if you use him over Max Christie? And the reason they made that acquisition was because they saw Max Christie up close and personal and were like, yeah, that ain't going to be it for us. Let's get Caleb Martin in here. And everybody else is drafting Max Christie, and it's Caleb Martin who plays more minutes.
I could see it.
Okay, cool. I like it. Kings are going to be a little bit easier to talk through. Obviously, I said no Monk and no Jake LaRavia this evening here. They are the favorites in this ball game. This is the lower of the 2 totals here. We already had the Sabonis conversation there, Nez, where we think he's better served as the 2 and or 3 on this slate, and that we both like AD more. It also opens you up to combos that the majority of entries won't be getting to as frequently if you are the person drafting AD at 1 instead of the person who's drafting Sabonis at 1. But let's talk about these next kind of like 4 starters. We're anticipating DeRozan, Levine, Keegan Murray, who's a good 3 and D, and then Keon Ellis, who's been playing big minutes and good on ball defense. Yeah, well, what are your thoughts on these next four here, and how would you kind of be ranking them amongst the tiers?
Yeah, I think I'd go out of these four, how you have it, like DeRozan over Levine. I
Yeah.
do like Keegan Murray a lot tonight.
Okay.
Big Keegan Murray guy. And I love Keon Ellis tonight too. I think, this is a team that's very, very not very, very, but they're one of my favorite players right now in the player pool right now. Just how I feel about how their rotation is going to look. I mean, man, Trey Lyles will play a bit, but I mean, you're potentially looking at these four guys here. I mean, two guys maybe playing 40 minutes, two guys maybe playing like 38. I just think that these guys are going to play as much as they can handle.
Yeah, I agree with you. It led me to getting over on Keon Ellis, and it was kind of at the expense of the Bulls guys. I actually like Keon a little more than Keegan. I know like Keegan's a good 3-and-D guy. I just like the dude with the ball in his hands a little bit more, And I know, Keon's not going to have like full lead handling because a lot of that's been funneling through Levine in recent memory here when he's been putting up some nice box scores and stuff. But yeah, I mean, give me the guy who's on ball defender all the time with the opportunity at stocks. And then give me the guy who's going to have the ball a little bit more.
Keon will probably have the worst defensive assignment on him, right? Like if he gets Dinwiddie, like, what do you think he gets Dinwiddie? I think Dinwiddie gets him.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I agree with that notion for sure. I think that'd be pretty good because my biggest fear with Keegan right now, and it stems to a little bit of PJ Washington too, is they can cannibalize one another on both sides of the floor because they're both good defenders and they'll both just be kind of like just eating each other up and pushing into the corner. Now, if I'm if I'm Sacramento, I probably want Keegan on PJ, right? And then you can help off of PJ to double AD down low or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you don't want him. Yeah, I mean, because Keon will take Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be PJ. I think it would be Keegan on PJ. Because I mean, Sabonis,
the other thing you could do is DeRozan and PJ. Like something like that. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do from a matchup standpoint tonight. The other big wild card to this is we're talking about the starters right now, but like Trey Lyles, we can go back 5 days or 5 games ago and see these box scores 40, 38, 37. And when I was looking at those, granted, some of those games are the ones in which Keegan missed. So there's direct overlap with those huge minute ceilings from Trey Lyles with Keegan Murray missing. And maybe that's what led to a bunch of it. But the other thing I see there, Nez, is we're talking about Detroit, Cleveland, and Denver. And what do all three of those teams have in common is they have a big who can cook Sabonis. So now all of a sudden you look at this matchup tonight and you go, what do you have on the Dallas side? You probably have 3 bigs that could arguably cook Sabonis. Do we need Trey Lyles' size on the floor tonight to be alongside Sabonis as help side defender because Keegan's not big enough for that role?
That's an interesting thought. Yeah, I think okay. Not even just for like AD help, but like they're playing AD plus Gafford / Lively pretty much at any given point. Yeah. Okay. So if that's the case, Alan in the chat, just a guy, talking about Joe Val. I mean, I'm not going to play Joe Val, but I do think that the matchup would be like, it would maybe make sense to play like Joe Val in there, but yeah, that might actually necessitate some Trey Lyles minutes. I mean, I have Trey Lyles ranked decently high. I think he's the 6th man for sure tonight. But maybe you just do, like with Sabonis guard, yeah, like what the fuck do you do? That is
It's very tough. It's very tough from a matchup standpoint.
Okay.
Like, what do you do? So, and then the other one, like the crazy outlier scenario that Nick's alluding to is like a Keegan, like, 3 quick ones or 2 quick ones, and then he sits on the bench for a bit too, and then Trey Lyles minutes really expand. But the good thing from a fantasy basketball output standpoint and a Trey Lyles standpoint, and a real life basketball, is Trey Lyles could play 37 minutes tonight, and that come all at the expense of Keegan Murray getting fouls early, and he could still only score like 15 or 16 fantasy points. Whereas if you got 12 minutes, like literally only 12 minutes of Joval as like second unit backup 5 run, he did it like 3 games ago where he put up like 30 fantasy points. He put up 27.9 in 12 minutes, right? So like we just know from a rates perspective that if you're going to take this swing late, Trey is definitely the safest of the two because Jonas Valanciunas could play 5 minutes tonight. And, like Sabonis just doesn't come off the floor. But, if he does happen to play 12 or play 18, he could do enough with those minutes to matter in the same capacity that Gafford or Lively could in the last round.
I think, gun to my head, I think Joval plays more than we think.
Okay.
Now that I think about this more and more.
And do you think they do that alongside Sabonis, or do you think that's just because I haven't seen it yet this year.
No, okay, then maybe not then. But that's something that I would think that they do. And also, the more that I just think about like what the Mavs have done, the more I think that they just kind of look at the modern day NFL and they kind of saw the resurgence of the running back, and they're like, we need to do the same thing in basketball where guys are getting faster and smaller, and we need to just like load up the front court and put size on the court and play a little like high-low high school basketball and just like beat teams 70-60.
Turning the clock back, baby. Yeah, can't get it done with Jamar Chase Luka. Absolutely can't. Oh shit. Yeah, man, there's a little bit of like who's gonna dictate the matchups tonight, which is similar to yesterday when I was talking about Edie, where I was like, oh my God, this is funny. Nick's literally bringing up in the chat. If Jovel plays more than we think and the Mavs win by 15, is like, that's kind of where I'm at on that too. But I said the same thing about Edie yesterday, and I thought I was going to be right for a long portion of that game. That I said if Edie played 32 minutes, they'd lose by 15 because I thought they had to just let them play to their strengths and match, threes with threes and play fast and play small. And Edie played very well. He had all the rebounds in the world and he was dominating down low there. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe, but they still lost the basketball.
They still lost.
Yeah. So this is kind of like more or less what I'm getting at is the Kings might just be like, yeah, we don't have to match size. Fuck that. And then just happily lose by 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How tall's DeRozan? DeRozan's kind of a big guy, isn't he?
I mean, like he's a typical wing. He's a typical
right.
wing.
I mean, I know he's not like a big guy, but I meant like he can hold his own. I mean, damn.
Yeah. Crazy fun slate. You were going to inspire more confidence in me, and I think I've inspired less confidence in you. This is not how it's supposed to go, dude.
Yes. I think the safe takeaway for me is just don't take Joval. I think that's probably fair. Don't let myself get talked into Jonas Valanciunas. I did before we got on the show, John. I was taking a little bit of zero projection Jaime Jaquez just because I couldn't help myself because he was zero projection. What if they buried the hatchet?
Yeah. I no longer care that you're banging my wife. It's okay. It's okay, buddy. Come on down. Des, we got some friends and family in here. We got Fully Loaded. We got Shomo, and we got the Young Steez. I like that screen name. Young Steez. Yes, to be fair, ex-wife. Yes. No false rumors around here. Yeah, Trey Lyles isn't like big either. Like he's 6'9", though.
Yeah,
like
he's a big guy. Trey Lyles sucks. Like you just don't really want to be in a position where you're giving Trey Lyles playoff minutes. That's never good. That's never good.
Yeah. Travioli asking, did he really bang his wife? It's his ex-wife, and it's just rumors.
They've simply been interacting on Instagram. But we're all young. We're all young here. We're all extremely young. We know what that means.
Yeah.
You don't just swap interactions on Instagram if you're not banging uglies.
Knocking pissers.
Never heard that.
Peak puck guy line.
That's hilarious. It's so gross.
It is so gross. Oh man. All right. So this is the usual scenario that we find ourselves in here, Nez. Do we want to build the chalk or do we want to flip the board a little bit to show the people what it can look like?
Nick made a comment earlier in the chat where he likes playing defense and taking two of the Miami guys.
The defense is for the Mavericks and cowards. So let's play offense, Nez. Let's dictate. Do you like Bam or Hero?
Bam.
Okay, so let's take Bam. And then do you like Levine or DeRozan?
No Vooch? Oh, because he's the other
Too
common
close.
pairing, huh?
Yeah.
So we're about to witness first place and second place drafted right here.
Don't worry about it.
DeRozan.
Don't worry about it, buddy. Can't play defense in these rooms. We're playing offense. Offense.
I like it. I mean, I did a quick little glance at my teams. It looks like I've got a lot of DeRozan AD, but what if? What if? You might only get 40 fantasy points from AD. You never know.
Yeah. I do think DeRozan AD is probably my favorite combo, and it's definitely my most replicated combo. The other thing is, like, this combination of AD, Sabonis, whatever, like Wiggins and White live on the left-hand side of the board, right?
Yeah.
So if you just want to flip those and like take Ware on the left side or something like that, I mean, power to you. All right. So I don't think Ware pairs all that well with Bam. So I would throw my hat in the ring for taking Herter and then pulling up Keon Ellis.
I like that. That's fun.
Yeah. All right, let's do this.
This is how you win.
This is how you win. Don't dupe me, nerds. This is how you win.
People wouldn't dare. They wouldn't dare sacrifice a point of projection to get insanely different.
No, these nerds out here, they can't even wrap their heads around what I'm doing right now. What we're doing right now.
They're making fun of us in private chats.
Yeah. Listen here, dorks. Already duped this 8 times. Like, good shit.
Yeah, right. We already know Blake would never draft 8 times.
Yeah. All right, so we see the Gafford one go off. We see Dinwiddie go off here. Najee Marshall comes back to us. I imagine you're going to want me to take Najee Marshall as one of these picks. You said you liked him.
I do like Najee Marshall. And the fifth, and at the 5'6".
Yeah, buddy.
Goddamn.
This is what happens when you fuck around, find out. Good things. Now I think Trey Lyles is an okay bet because of the Keegan stuff, but I think we got to scroll here, man. I think we got to scroll and we got to set the tone.
But you already scrolled though.
All right, who do you like then? Do you like Lively or do you like Clay? I like Lively and Clay more than Lyles. Who do you like?
Let's do Lively.
Okay, I respect that.
Yeah, like who would you scroll to?
Caleb Martin.
Yeah, okay.
Take Caleb Martin.
That's cool.
Gonna take Caleb Martin, and then we got a team that nobody else. I think you can take Caleb Martin. I think we could take Nikola Jovic. Yeah. If I could pinpoint what I think wins this evening right now, like I just, do what I did the other day, and call my shot with all 6 spots or whatever. I think it's 5th round Keon Ellis wins tonight.
Like a little bit of a GM.
Yeah, like 5th round Keon Ellis. Like I got some 5th round Keon, 6th round Gafford teams, like that combo together. Because like people are doing weird shit in the rooms because like, man, all these teams just look the exact same. Like Fully Loaded's team right now, like he has to scroll with this last one here because like those first 5 picks are like just put together over and over again. And there is one huge difference on today's slate versus yesterday's slate. Yesterday's slate, it was very easy to game stack. And you could just be like, I want to take 4 guys from one team. I want to take 5 guys from one game. I want to do that. people are really fighting you today for Bulls starters and for Sacramento starters. So the falling pieces are always Dallas and Heat auxiliary pieces. So it's really hard to just game stack.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that here. I mean, maybe a sneaky Kings auxiliary piece is who you need. Everybody's
Yeah,
chasing after the starting five.
right. Like there's your leverage plays. They're definitely the least safe of the bunch. Let's rip one more of those because they're so effing fast, and then we'll talk about baseball.
Okay.
Um, yeah, we can. I'll pick your brain on the baseball stuff here. I did about 10 of them this morning, I think, something like that. See where we're at.
I got dad bladder right now. I'll be right back. Give me one second.
Yes, sounds good. Yeah, we've had one scroll, yes, but what about another scroll? That is words to live by, right there. Jump Free telling us to respect median projected, or he unsubs. I respect that. Someone has 80 in Vooch or 80 in Hero. Exactly. Like I have 80 in Vooch. I don't think I have 80 in Hero. Let me see. I don't want to undupe all my teams or show all my teams from a combo standpoint, but I've done 57 of these. So let's see here. I have to no Hero and AD. No Hero and AD pairings. And that's probably because I take AD at 1. Yeah. Dom saying he has an AD plus Hero with Gafford in the 6th. There you go. So there's your GM, and that's why you got to flip the fucking board out here, because we know that exists. That's what we know exists. Baseball main slate. I have done 12 of them, and the only reason I have to bring this up before we talk about baseball, I'm getting the ticking time bomb on the exposures there. Have a Hero plus Sabonis. There you go. Perfect. I've done 12 drafts thus far, and my guy in the chat, Trivoli's saying Morel, the lefty killer, versus a lefty in Yankee Stadium Jr. going undrafted. My ass.
Don't give
going
away all
undrafted.
the plays, Travioli. Come on.
Giving away all the good plays, my friend. Holy smokes.
Travis McCaffrey over here, man.
And there you go. As we're talking about it, guys, in this very room, Sabonis and Hero. There you go. There's your Sabonis and Hero. It literally just happens right there. So we're talking about these GM combos, Sabonis and whatever. DeMar DeRozan goes there. So we're going to get the typical start of Levine plus our decision between White and Wiggins, unless we want to flip the board yet again. Khalil Ware would be the 101 flip candidate because he never makes it back in the 4th, whereas like Keon Ellis and stuff do. Thoughts on who you'd like to pair with this one, Nez? Is it White or Wiggins? Washington? What do you like?
So what? Chalk's probably Kobe White.
Yeah, all of these are all going to be replicated combos from the 1 and the 2 over and over again.
Maybe Wiggins.
Wiggins? Sure.
Yeah, let's do Wiggins.
Yeah, a little playoff Wiggins there. We saw playoff Wiggins get after it. What was that, 2 postseasons again?
Yeah, I think so. Let me see. Yeah. Let me look at my Davis comma teams on here. Got a ton of Davis, DeRozan. Like half of my Davis teams have DeRozan. 2 have Levine. Both Levine teams have White.
Yeah. There you go. Dat Mavis living the dream out here. Yeah, now land the plane like a boss. This is the key. This is the key to success here. You got the GM start combo. Can you land the plane without just eating the chalk the whole way through?
Let's see if I have any of that. Honest.
Yeah, go for it.
No. Oh, I got one.
You got one of those.
At pick
Alan.
two.
Alan saying he's looking at his 80 plus. He's got 3 80 plus Vooch, none with Hero. Most of the 80 is paired with either Levine or DeRozan. That checks out.
Good question by Travioli here. I'm not sure if you've seen this, John. The Celtics have a like a little docu-series on Max.
Yeah, Pete and I talked about it at the end of the football show yesterday. Pete's watching it. I have not watched it yet. Are you watching it?
I just have a little bit of a rant.
Oh, here we go. Let's hear it. This will be good because people heard Pete's take on it yesterday.
I'm just a little fucking sick of all the Boston docu-series, bro. Who gives a fuck? Who fucking cares about it? And I say this reluctantly because I'm watching the comeback. It's very good. It's very good. I'm watching the clubhouse. It's very good. But like, goddamn, man. Who cares?
Can we mix in another team?
Can the Bruins get something? Can we get something on Marchand? Huh? What kind of unreal?
Keegan goes there. So I mean, I would take Keon Ellis here, and then I would open up whatever you want to do there, and then we'll scroll with our last pick. But up to you. What do you like?
Najee Marshall?
Sure. You like Najee more than Davion, and like Najee more than Gafford tonight?
Yes.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, I think so. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
More or less propaganda coded than The Last Dance. I liked The Last Dance, but I think that's just because it was middle of COVID, nothing else to do. Everyone looked forward to it coming out on like Sunday night or whatever it was.
At least the propaganda was like on the nose, right? Like,
yeah,
the bad pizza story. I mean,
yeah,
shut the fuck up.
Yeah, the bad pizza story is so good. Oh man. Been living through. I feel so sorry for you, Dogman Chill, to have to live through the Boston struggles.
He's living for them. He loves it.
Oh, living for. Oh, I was being sarcastic. I'm glad we're all on the same page here. There's something that Young Steez does that I haven't done yet, is pairing the bigs together. I think pairing the bigs together is smarter.
Yeah.
Than traditionally speaking. You know.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, both those guys could be very efficient in their their question mark minutes.
T-Bear's asking if we're watching the studio. I don't even know what the studio is. What's the studio?
It's on Apple TV. I feel like you're a Seth Rogen guy. I feel like you like Seth Rogen.
He's all right. He turned a little too woke for me. Like I used to like him, like Superbad era and like all that sort of stuff. I thought he was great, and he's a good Vancouver boy, and he started a company here that's like a film based one and whatever. And then now all his new stuff, I think he's kind of.
So he's I don't know what his role is in Hollywood, but it's like a behind the scenes. It's almost like Entourage-esque, like behind the scenes of Hollywood type show on Apple TV. It does look good.
I think we got to do it here, man. I think we got to be the guys on stream that go, they traded for Caleb Martin for a reason. They saw what he did in the Heat series. They saw that. We got Najee Marshall on here. We got AD on here. Caleb Martin minutes coming at the expense of somebody else that's not those two on this team.
What channel are they playing on tonight?
Don't know. Last night was TNT for both of them, I think. I don't know.
They're on ESPN?
Yeah, I guess so.
Caleb Martin, Mike Breen bangs tonight?
Ooh, now you're talking.
Caleb
now
Martin,
you're speaking. Bang! Double bang for Caleb. Caleb in the corner. Bang! Bang!
Caleb Martin, 25 points.
Caleb Martin, 25. Now we're fucking dreaming.
You have to visualize this shit, man, when you're playing these dailies.
Manifest it. Manifest it. Double
Double
bang
bang.
doesn't happen in a play-in game. The only time you get a Mike Breen double bang is like NBA finals and or any Knicks game on a Tuesday night. Like he'll give the double bang. He's just throwing them out for Knicks games. He's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's like Jalen makes a pass to like a guy at the elbow. He throws it down low to like Mitch Robb backing a guy down, and he's like, Brunson with the bang pass. It's like, wait, what? Come on, Breen.
Like it's candy.
Yeah, Curry shot in the regular season. There you go. Any Curry 3, he'll give you a bang too.
Oh.
All right, man. That was fun. I know you're on a time crunch here with parents in town. Let's do a super abbreviated baseball. We're not going to do game by game because it's a 10 gamer here. I'll just say that the slates look similar to the last couple days here. The chalk spots have changed a little bit here. We lost 4 games on the slate to the Daytime Diamond, which means we have 10 games in the evening here. Everything, Nez, from a weather standpoint, is either indoors or it's hovering in the 50 to 60 degree area. The coldest game is in Chicago, where Athletics bats are getting drafted at a decent margin after last night. That's 40 degrees there. Yeah, a little cold, but wind blowing out at Yankee Stadium. And then the Rays are an outlier. Rays game is like 80 degrees, which is, Tampa right now is a decent place to hit just in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about, some of the games, some of the stacks. We could do pitchers. Let's do pitchers, stacks, and a couple one-offs that you like, and then rip a draft and call it a show kind of deal.
Yeah, pitching today, I think is almost punt worthy.
Yeah.
The tough. If you can stomach Bubic against these Yankees in good hitting weather or good hitting winds, the fact that he's there all the time is pretty nice. I think he matches up pretty well. Obviously. You hate going against Judge, but I think being lefty against the likes of Bellinger and Jazz is pretty
Bubic
nice.
Is a righty.
Huh?
Bubic is a righty.
Oh, why do I think he's lefty? I'm thinking of Lynch.
Yeah, that's Daniel Lynch.
Yeah. Either way, Bubic going really well this season. So you just have some decent punt options here. And I think the most popular one that you're seeing, Bobby Miller, the Rockies have just been the heaviest flow chart we've ever seen this season. Man, I don't. Are you doing it? Are you doing?
Bubic is a lefty? Oh, I'm crazy, dude. I'm wrong. You're right. I thought Bubic was a righty. That's why he was good in relief. My bad.
Whew. Thought I was going crazy, man. I know I'm a dad, but
no, that's my bad, dude. Bubic for sure I thought was a righty. My bad. I've never watched Bubic pitch. Clearly,
he's going well, man. They were really excited about Bubic last year, I think, or it was the year. What?
It was, yeah. So it was two years ago. They were really excited about him, and then he floundered and didn't get it done as a starter. Then they moved him to the bullpen last year. He added a pitch. He looked incredible in the bullpen, and then they gave him another chance in spring to rejoin the rotation, built him up, and now he's like their guy in the rotation right now.
Yeah, and maybe it was Lynch I was thinking of that hurt himself. Yeah.
Yeah, Lynch was the former of the two of these guys. Lynch was the bigger of the left-handed prospects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But at any rate, man, I think Bubic at SP7 is kind of nice. If you like the results, you trust the results, and you can it's pretty bold against the Yankees. But
yeah. No, I like where you're at on that. Like when I looked at this slate, I was like, oh my God, Robbie Ray, who's walked the world and just kind of like skirted by. Yeah, he skirted by in like the first couple starts. Like, yeah, I prefer you if you're left-handed going against the Phillies. But that being said, like Schwarber is amazing against lefties. Like he's almost overcompensated to the point where he was so bad against them that now he's become the best against them. Like it's kind of funny. But yeah, so that one, and then Nola, like the velo is like way down with Nola, and I think Nola just treat Nola as if he's Wheeler on every slate that Nola's on, and they're not actually interchangeable. Yeah, so I like where you're at here, dude, because my mind was like, I love Brandon Fott, but the K stuff is, what we grew accustomed to last year has now kind of fallen back down to earth this year. So I was taking a little bit of thought. I like the suggestion here. I'm a little scared about Bobby Miller in terms of the innings available. I was doing some Gavin Williams stuff and some Mitchell Parker, although I don't love lefties versus the Pirates. Like when you get like Kutch and Fan, like just professional ass right-handed hitters against a lefty at the top of the lineup, and obviously Reynolds switch hitter there too, that I get a little more skittish about it than them facing a righty.
Yeah, I like the Mitchell Parker play.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily, on dailies, I don't see anybody here like putting up 20 points at
Right.
SP. So I think Mitch could give you a quality start win. And, you pair that with 6 innings minimum, double digit pitching points, you're good. And it's low owned. The Pirates suck, brother. And and they got nobody. They're really lacking righty sticks. Like Tommy Pham playing terribly. Yeah, Kutch is nice. Other than that, though, like they just get neutralized by lefties right now.
Yeah, well said. Aswaldo definitely in play. He's had 2 medium starts to start the year there, 5Ks in each of them. I'm a little scared about the Clark Schmidt innings tonight, his first start of the year since getting injured in spring and then pushing back. Max Meyer's been really good to start the year, but I don't really want to go to it against Arizona this evening. Yeah, that's kind of all. I won't do anyone else lower down than that this evening. Yeah, you agree with that?
Yep. Yeah, I do think Beto is interesting against the White Sox, but I also think that the White Sox are a sneaky leverage spot against old Beto.
Okay. Yeah, I liked me a little bit of White Sox yesterday, and I do agree with you today that I'll get a little bit of White Sox in my life today. Cool.
Strong leverage.
Say again.
Strong leverage. No one's ever looking White Sox way.
Yeah, absolutely. 10 teams on the slate, so there's 10 games on the slate, so there's 20 teams to stack today. The Stone Cold Chalk as of right now, Nez, Evergreen, Yankees and Dodgers, but Angels are big time chalk spot today, Arizona, and then people gravitating to these Athletics. So those are kind of like the 3 chalkiest routinely drafted, or I guess 5 chalkiest routinely drafted stacks. Do you have a favorite out of that grouping? Do you have a one that you're going to be soft fading out of that grouping? What do you think?
I'm pretty tunnel visioned right now, to be honest, man. So you mentioned the chalk stacks here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the one that I like the most would be Angels.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Angels just got blanked against Texas. They threw some pretty good relievers at them, after the Molly master class.
Yeah.
And it's Patrick Corbin, man. The Angels have some really strong right-handers, obviously, with Mike Nelson, Taylor Ward, Renjifo's better from the right side. Yeah, I think these Angels. Yep. Yeah, I'm really into these Angels today, but everybody is, so they're pretty chalky.
Yeah, but they're my favorite. Yeah, they're definitely my favorite of the 5 getting drafted every single time, chalk stacks as well. But many of people have lost their shirt in the DFS community the last 10 years, stacking against professional ass thumber Patrick Corbin. Every single year, it looks awful on paper. The ISO, the 5 ERA, everything looks bad. And then, 10 times a year, he goes out and only gives up 3 runs or only gives up 4 runs. And those starts you know, they keep the bad chalk neutered on days like that. Let's say that.
Yeah, they definitely do. I think the counterpoint is like the back end of these Angels. I mean, is everybody 5-man stacking the Angels? If they are, maybe you do a 4-1 stack with the Angels, and you kind of mix it up a little bit, and maybe you forego that Jorge Soler pick or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good way to think about it too. As Timmy's alluding to in the chat here, that he sees Ward routinely going in the first. Any day that Taylor Ward's going in the first round is a day in which I'll probably be soft fighting Angels, despite noting the fact that Mike Trout is probably my third best stick on the slate, and that the Angels are probably my favorite of the chalk stacks. But you just have to pick and choose your spots, right?
Yeah, you can always go one off from that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We are getting some news, some NBA news dump right now, Nez, that's going to impact the slate a little bit. Brandon Williams has been listed available to play. Anthony Davis is listed available to play. Nikola Jovic available to play. So interested to see what that starting lineup will look like. Pell Larson also available to play, and Dalen Terry available to play for the Bulls. So these teams getting a lot deeper, especially the Heat. So man, when that starting lineup comes out, like be paying some close attention there, because I'm a little scared about potential Davion minutes now, with basically everybody else being back in there, and if they want to size up or size down a little bit, but not fully go small ball. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, good shout.
Okay, Nez, let's talk about some of the contrarian stacks, ones in which you are drafting right now that are your favorite of the bunch. Some of mine just appeared in chat. I have them written down here, Nez.
Yeah, so this is a pretty interesting slate, because we have got a lot of teams here that are like infield only, as far as like guys that you want to draft and guys that literally you have no choice but to draft. Tampa Bay right now, like they have no available outfielders that are probably going to be starting today in our player pool.
Yeah.
We need Morel to get that yellow tag, please. Please and thank you, Numi. That'd be very much appreciated, because we can only stack these Rays via outfielders. Kansas City's another one. Go up against Clark Schmidt. With strong winds, you can do MJ Melendez and Hunter Renfroe, but that one you just really only want to get to infield. You have the option of stacking outfield. But those teams familiar to me come to mind right now, as far as like what I want to get to. And the one that we talked about before we got on the show, Cover Boy, Mariners. Nobody wants to take the Mariners for good reason, but I mean, I want to take the Mariners, and I want a lot of them today.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Like Nick Martinez, kind of similar to the Patrick Corbin conversation, where it looks awful on paper, gives up a lot of fly balls, but somehow he's a professional ass pitcher, and mitigates some run scoring every now and then. Reminder that Great American Small Park doesn't play like it does in the summertime this time of year. But I agree with you, Nez. I definitely want some Seattle bats in my life, especially when they're this quote unquote mispriced. Even if it's just Julio as a one-off, because you are stacking some of these infielders, and you don't want to eat the chalk at the outfield with the upper echelons, the Judges, the Sotos, or not Soto, Otani, Trout, that sort of thing. You want to start infield and then back stack, two contrarian outfielders, like doing a 3-man of Tampa Bay or a 3-man of Kansas City, and then adding Julio and Lubob or something like that to it.
Yeah, that's pretty sharp, because I'm gonna be doing what you just said not to do quite a bit.
Yeah, it's just like one of those classic like paths on a 10 gamer, that it's like, if you're gonna build out the contrarian stack, why not stack it with contrarian sticks as well? Because anyone who does the contrarian 3-man is probably going to do it with some upper echelon bats on the slate. And, both can work, both can win. It's just relative to risk tolerance and how many entries you're putting in, and just play style, really.
Yeah.
Anyone else that you want to hit on in terms of contrarian stacks? I had written down You brought up Royals and Rays there. I had right-handed Rays, left-handed Boston, and then I had Seattle just in a vacuum. Those were kind of my three favorite of the contrarian. Anything else that you like other than the ones that
Yeah.
we mentioned?
Other side of this game.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
I'm
Reds.
not necessarily. I mean, Bryce Miller's fine. I like to disrespect Bryce Miller because I think he's way overvalued as far as when he's on the slate. People don't like taking players against Bryce Miller.
Mm-hmm.
How about Austin Hayes batting fourth against a righty?
Yeah, I was about to say the Austin Hayes coming back and Matt McLean coming back. Matt McLean had a nice night last night. Makes this stack so much more intriguing. Both because they're good hitters, but also because of the position eligibility. It opens you up to like so many different styles of stacks here.
This Reds lineup got like intriguing in a hurry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like I kind of like the way this team looks right now.
Yeah, I like that. Timmy Carr saying, yeah, Corbin, Martinez, and Zach Littell on the same slate, like drooly emoji. Agreed.
So yeah, this is a fun slate, man. There's a lot of different ways to go off the beaten path here. I'll be pretty upset if the chalk hits. It's never Dodgers until it's always Dodgers.
Yeah, never Dodgers until Dodgers smack you in the mouth with the late night hammer 2 hours after
Whoa.
every other game has.
Who's getting smacked in the mouth with hammers?
I don't know, man. I will double down on something that I saw last time when the Angels went crazy in Tampa Bay and helped your boy have a really successful night. There is Zach Littell has a fly ball problem, and a fly ball problem in a junior size ballpark with 80 degrees. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to have Bregman in the lineup today because he's on paternity leave there, like a touching tribute to our guy Nez after going, 5 for 5 with 2 home runs last night. That he thought he should go birth a son as well. But yeah, that lineup obviously going to be a little bit worse without Bregman, but there's definitely some good sticks to get to against a guy who has a fly ball problem.
Yeah, that's we're finally seeing Tampa Bay play short, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun for a long time there.
Any goofy ass contrarian off the cuff random dudes who could homer tonight that you kind of like?
I'll
give you 2.
Okay, go ahead.
2 big random ones that are non-chalk and non-contrarian stacks that we just talked about. Alex Call, lefty, killer, like him just in general, and Ryan O'Hearn versus Gavin Williams this evening.
Yeah, I was looking at that side of things too over at in Baltimore. Let me think here. Let's go. I'm just gonna play a little bit of the hits here. I'm gonna go your boy Christopher Morel today.
I like it too.
Yeah. Newcomb.
Yeah, I think if you forced me to take a little bit chalkier of spots, maybe this isn't even that chalky. But we talked about Mariners. The Cal Raleigh one stands out to me. Eugenio Suarez stands out to me, and Jesus Sanchez stand out to me.
Those are good calls too. I was not looking that way at all.
Those are deep dives. Those are John's super special feet on the side where you have to literally go down to only dumpster fire plays that only John will play, guys.
Well, you might see Few up top with a Marlins stack, man. You just never know. You just never know, man.
Alex McCallnell, I love that. That's a good one. Vinny P versus Clark Schmidt. That seems like a good one too. Nez hit on it earlier that he likes some of the KC stuff there. So yeah, that seems really good there. Nez, you ready to rip a draft here and call a show?
Yeah. Let's put some lineups to paper.
All right. One more spot. Yeah, Matt Mervis, aka Mash. He's been crushing recently. Cubs could use him at third base right now.
I forgot he was a Cub. I was like, why do I know the name Matt Mervis when every time I've been seeing him lately? I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I know him.
He was their big answer to who was going to fill the shoes of Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant after they left, and he did not fill them shoes. Man, we got friends and family here. Tarkus, JT, Falco, Zero Fox, and Chris. This is a ball knowers lobby here, Nez. I'm a little shook.
Oh, you're scared.
I'm a little shook now. I'm not gonna lie. These are some big names here. Should we have some fun at 101, or what do you think?
Ooh. I mean, I've been doing All Rise 101.
Ooh, interesting. You like the judge tonight? Did you
Yeah.
forget that he's a reverse splits guy? That he's not as good against left-handed pitching?
Oh, he sucks against left-handed pitching.
Yeah, he only hits 309 against lefties.
What's your definition of fun here? Trout?
Let's fucking take our big beefy baseball boy here against Patrick Corbin.
Let me quickly look up some DVP here.
Oh, so DVP. I looked up a little one of these earlier. So I maybe know what you're seeing right now, pending where you looked. But there are some very, very contrarian Angels who have large sample sizes against Patrick Corbin.
And are they good?
They're former NL players. They're former NL players who faced Patrick Corbin a lot. One we love to draft, but I don't think he'll be in the lineup today because he played yesterday when you were at the park.
Oh, yeah. He looks awful, by the way.
Travis d'Arnaud. You got to tell everybody. They didn't know who we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then do you know who the other one is? Former third baseman, used to play. He got really fucked. He got really fucked out of a good contract deal, and Eno talked about it a lot on their podcast and used him as the poster child for a guy who got fucked in Oakland, then got fucked by the Giants, and then got fucked by the Mets. Or Mets, Oakland, Giants in that order.
JD Davis.
JD Davis.
Is he gonna play? Is he gonna play tonight?
No, I don't think so. No.
Yeah, Travis d'Arnaud, man. I thought I was gonna shock the world with those picks.
All right, Nez. Do we do a little Angels thing here and like add Soler and then do a contrarian 3-man of the infield variety? Do we add Brent Rooker and some athletic stuff? Do we scroll even further?
Rays.
Yandy?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Yandy your favorite Ray today?
I think Junior is.
Okay. Let's take Junior next then.
Yandy's got to be a part of it, but yeah.
Okay.
Junior's starting to hit the ball, brother.
Mm-hmm. Like the sounds of that.
Yeah, he's putting it together right now.
My guys got it. Everyone's got JD Davis in here. 877 runs now. What does that even mean? This is my help phone number.
You don't get JG Wentworth commercials in Canada, right?
No.
Oh. All time.
I know the jingle though. Yeah.
Okay. That's what it is.
8 home runs career off Patrick Corbin. Former lefty killer JD Davis there. Soler has some bad BVP. But maybe from when the Corbin area of being decent. I love BVP shit. I love pretending to care about it, and I love shitting all over it when it doesn't work, and then I love citing it when it does work. Like, oh, it's so good. It is such a good bit.
I forgot to mention, speaking of like former guys, so Tyler Mahle last night threw a gem. Absolute gem. Do you remember like Tyler Mahle's like heydays? When he first came up, like what his like calling card was, it was like his like slider and breaking. It was like his breaking stuff, right? It was pretty nasty.
Yeah, the thing that the Stuff Plus loved was the slider. He was like a big Stuff Plus guy because when he was with the Reds, people loved him, and then when he moved to the good ballpark with the Giants, people were like, "Oh fuck yeah, wheels up!" Right?
Yeah, let's make these picks, and then I would go another Ray. Or no, let's do JD Davis. Let's do it. Okay.
Let's fucking do it, baby. Let's do JD Davis, and then let's take one off Julio if he's still there.
Okay. That's fun.
Do it. Let's do it. We a little 2-2-1 here, and then we'll have a scroll the F down pitcher to go with it.
So yeah, Mally, like I remember Mally, like I loved his slider. I thought his breaking stuff was really good. And now he's like fastball, cutter, splitter. That's how he lives. Like he's like he's that type of guy where I'm giving you 3 pitches that all kind of look the same, but one's going straight, one's cutting, one's dying. Splitter basically just a pseudo changeup, and he gave the Angels fits. I was like
interesting.
Impressed that this guy's kind of changed up so strongly.
I was on the Angels really hard yesterday. Like I had 70% Trout yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was Angels, Boston, and Athletics and Rays for me yesterday, basically exclusively. And the reason I was hard on the Angels is because I saw he had a fly ball problem and hard hit problem versus righties, but those samples might be old. If he's a completely new pitcher, because like what you're describing to me is a dude that learned how to tunnel, right?
Yeah.
Because like if his arm angle was different with the breaking stuff, like now all of a sudden he's tunneling everything out of this fastball, cutter, split like that. It all just works off one another.
I mean, the fastball is like 94. It's not good,
right?
And guys are going right under it. It's strange. So I don't know if he's got good movement on the fastball. And then the splitter was making guys look silly, right in the dirt, right behind the plate. Guys couldn't square it up, couldn't see it well at all. So maybe once teams get the scouting report on Mally, it could be a different story. But right now, he definitely did not look like he was not pitching like Tyler Mally to me.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. That's something I'll keep my eye on here. I'll go back and look at some of those pitches from the start because I only saw an at bat or two. I was watching basketball last night.
Yeah.
Just because of the play-in stuff. But yeah. Prediction on Bobby Miller pitch count tonight. I mean, in theory, he stretched out, but he stretched out by Dodgers standards, which, I mean, soft cap at 5 innings in my mind. Like, I don't think he's draftable today. I think it's a really good spot, but like, I'll take other guys over it. That being said, Nez, who do you like here of the contrarian variety?
I do like Soriano.
You like Soriano? You want me to play the chalk here?
Go Mitchell Parker. Let's just fade the Pirates.
Let's do it. Let's fade the Pirates. Let's take Mitchell Parker. Not the best strikeout stuff in the world, although he had it last year for a little bit there. But they thought highly of him for a little bit.
Yeah, he is he the one that looks like Kershaw? When he throws. Obviously,
yes,
by mechanics only.
Yes, no, I think he's the one who grew up mimicking Kershaw. Yes, I think you're correct. Yeah, I remember seeing that last year when he started starting more frequently at the tail end of the year. Yeah, I think you're 100% right on that. Absolute fucking ball knower right there. I don't know if JD Davis is in the lineup today, but apparently he kills Corbin. We like that Rays mini. We like Julio as a one-off. We like Seattle in general. We like the Reds a little bit more than the community does right now. Randa. I retweeted something this morning. Cody, go check that out. Aranda is like first in everything, like WOBP and X stats and whatever, like X slug. Like he's been a monster this year. I really wish I could trade a little bit of my morale for some of that too. All right, Nez. I'm doing the happy dance a little bit. I know you got parents to hang out with. Rotogrinder says JD Davis is projected to hit 6. There you go. So who knows? I often, very, very often disagree with their lineups, both basketball and baseball. But hey, that's neither here nor there. Historically speaking, I've been much better. Asking here preference. Basically, all of the brackets are set except for 2 spots in the NBA and 1 spot in the NHL, and it is hinging upon the Montreal Canadiens winning this evening. I believe they only need 1 point to clinch over CBJ. But
wow.
I want the Canadiens in there.
Good for Montreal, man. They need to get in there, man. They've been ass for a long time.
And they got this new kid who was a 5th or 6th overall pick last year, I think, or this year. This Demidov kid, Russian kid, Nez, and they just brought him over, and he played literally his first game, I guess last game or whatever. And his first game is like a super impactful make the playoffs game for them. Like they was losing their out, and in the first period, he has this dirt nasty assist in the high slot that he makes like 2 nice plays, like kicks it off his stick, wheels to the outside, dekes a guy, then slides it out into the slot. And then on like 2 shifts later, he gets like a semi breakaway off a bank pass, and then just like a dirty little toe drag to the backhand, leaves the goalie looking for his jock. And it was like, this guy's the fucking truth, man. He's played 2 shifts, and I'm all in on this guy. So hopefully he gets in
this. That's a cool story. I'm rooting for them now. I might do some Zamboni. I might get some Habs going in the Zamboni.
Dude, if you want to flip the board, hockey is the spot to flip the board. Getting contrarian there. All right, guys, we're gonna tie a bow on it there. Probably paywall tomorrow because it is limited slate. Might do some playoff stuff there. Definitely do some playoff stuff together on Friday. I will bring this back up for one. Oh, what did I do here? There we go. I'll bring this back up for 1 second to remind everyone, just as we're signing off here, that the extender, be ready for it. Be ready for it when the playoffs hit here. Be ready for the extender. You got to get in game 1. Get that first promo in there, and then it ranks up the boosting the longer the series goes. So at the very least, if you get into a series at game 1, you're going to end up with a 70% boost there. But if we go the distance, and we'll pick a series that could potentially go the distance, we're kind of thinking about Clippers and Nuggets right now. You could get that 100% boost if we get to game 7 there. And yeah, there's going to be some fun game theory for us to talk through on that to leverage some of those boosts there, Nez, when it comes to playoffs. Any parting words for the people?
See you in the lobbies, I hope. I got a busy afternoon picking up a car from the shop, hanging with the folks, but I'm going to do my best.
Get some mellow and family time in there and sneak a couple drafts in while you're on the can. Classic bro move. All right, get your Mr. Good Boys in the chat there. There he is. He's turning his head back for you because he heard his name. Good luck. NBA streets tonight, puck streets tonight, baseball streets tonight. Everybody's favorite time on the show. The end. Peace.